All right. Hope everybody is having a good day. It is Monday, May 8th. Want to go over the trades that we took today, my bias going into the day. Very, very rough day for me going into today. I want to go back, see the trades that we took, see, what was the problem? How could we, maybe fix this? I took 3 trades today and they were all losses, right? Normally that doesn't happen. I don't want that to happen again. So the best thing I want to go do is, review what happened today. What was my bias going into the day? Was I overly biased? Did I fail to adjust to the market? What was it? So that's the main goal of our charting sessions, right? Because we're always trying to learn, always transparent with you guys. If we make a mistake, if I make a mistake, I always want to figure out, what it was. How can we somehow improve it? So going into the day, the first trade that I took, I ended up taking it pre-market. And I ended up taking a long pre-market, pulling back, and I wanted to check out why I took this trade. So looking at the 15-minute on ES and NQ, I'm pretty confident that the draw on liquidity is higher on a bigger time frame, right? On a bigger time frame, right? So one thing that I might have, taken for granted or a little bit is I might have gotten too soon of an entry to target that buy side, right? Because we had just not good price action pretty much this whole day. We were just continued to stay in that previous range and just did not have really any expansion move whatsoever. So we had pretty much a consolidation move. And yeah. So going into the trades that we took, this first one, we had kind of this 15-minute breaker block that I ended up pulling back. I wanted to see the draw on liquidity be that previous high. Now, I still think the draw on liquidity is this previous high, right? I still think this is the draw on liquidity. I don't think we come lower to take this, right? We swept this low here, continue to hold it. We're bouncing off, bigger time frame fair value gap here. But notice that we did take that previous high out on NQ. So NQ was a lot stronger than ES. Again, in the morning, though, price action was very weird because NQ was showing super strong weakness, but ES was showing a lot of strength, right? We were trying to bounce on ES. ES looked really good. We were showing a lot of strength, but NQ ended up selling off and it ended up bringing ES with it. And then we ended up taking that sell side level. So we were forming bullish SMT on like 4 different time frames. We had this SMT here, 15-minute, ended up getting swept on NQ. We took this low out at the time. It was like right here. We were forming SMT there. We were also forming SMT from this low, right? We're also forming SMT on a bigger time frame. So all of these things are really showing bullish structure to me. So I was pretty confident that we were going to get a bounce, at least hit that previous high, right? So this trade was honestly not terrible. It was not bad. I was, I had a breaker block. I had SMTs. I had conviction that the draw on liquidity was higher. The only thing that I could potentially learn from this is waiting for more pressure to the upside before entering into a position, right? Waiting for a break of structure in this structure, right? Because if we're trading off of a 15-minute time frame and we're pulling back into this 15-minute breaker block, I want to see some sort of smaller time frame confirmation, right? Especially if my stop loss is pretty tight. If my stop loss is, this tight right here and I enter in we had SMT right here, SMT on the 1 minute as well. We had so many, SMTs and Confluence, but ES was just, NQ just ended up pulling us down a lot. So on a bigger time frame, right, 15-minute, we get Confluence and all these things, but I needed to get some sort of break of structure on a bigger time or on a smaller time frame, like the 1 minute. Notice that we never ended up getting that break of structure, right? I entered in here once we formed that lower low, forming SMT. I put my stop a little bit low. We ended up selling off. I got stopped out. Then we got bought back up. Now, this was where I made my mistake. This is where I made my mistake. I believe that I was too heavily biased right here. I was too heavily biased to the long side. We were forming SMT on a 5-minute and a 15-minute. This candle looked like we were going to close to the upside. We're still forming SMT. NQ was selling off, but ES was bouncing hard. If we look at NQ right here, NQ was continuing to sell off, right? But ES was showing that strength. We were still holding. NQ made a low of day right here, but ES was still, trying to hold this level here. So I jumped into longs when I didn't really have any, strong confirmation yet. Normally, I did not trade really my setup here. I was hoping to catch that SMT bounce. I was, too focused on my bias, and I wasn't, focused on letting the market really do its thing. So one thing I want to focus on today and learn from today, going into weeks from now or days to come, is number one, I do want to look back at my journal, and I think one of the biggest things is also I want to pay attention to Mondays. I want to look back in my journal because after today, I've realized kind of that Mondays are not my strong suit, and I want to look back and see why that is. So Mondays, number one, Mondays is something that maybe we lower size on Mondays. Is Mondays, do I normally lose on Mondays? Do I normally win on Mondays? I need to go back in my journal and see. I honestly think I lose more on Mondays than I do win. So honestly, I might stop trading Mondays, letting the market do its thing, right? Setting up, because most of the time that I've experienced, Mondays, we mostly get consolidation on Mondays. We really don't get any sort of, move or good action. If we look at ES again, another thing I want to point out too is VIX, right? VIX is under 20. We're, selling off on VIX. We're having very weak volatility. We're not, right. This is unfavorable market conditions when the VIX is this low. We're very unvolatile right now. So this is making me also want to stick to trading NQ more than ES when VIX is so low. And when we look at a 15-minute, right, this is the action that we really don't want to trade. So I will be looking and sticking more towards NQ this week, just because VIX is at the lows. We're not showing a lot of volatility. NQ is getting a lot better price action, right? We're getting clean moves. We sell off, we get that bounce back up, hold that inverse Fibonacci gap, and then we go to that draw on liquidity, right? NQ is showing a lot, better action, and it's more clear to me than ES has been recently. Now, ES has been, pretty good in the last, week or two, but coming into Monday, did not like the action today. So this second trade that I took, I think I jumped way too early. I did not need to get in. I think I was afraid of missing out on that move. I was overconfident. I had too strong of a bias and failed to notice the weakness on NQ, right? Now, a lot of the things too I want to talk about is waiting for 9 o'clock is also, right? I think waiting for New York City kill zone after that first 30 minutes of market open is the highest probable setups that I normally take. I like to take trades after that first 30 minute. So that might be a rule I might set for myself now. Or if I'm going to trade before that first 30 minutes, I might lower my size, and I'll let you guys know as well, right? A rule, that's something that we might create, is when market does open, if we do get a setup, I might take it small size, because I've learned that I'm most profitable when that first 30 minutes of the market is over. Once 8 o'clock hits for me, because market opens at 7:30 for my time. Once 8 o'clock hits is when I get that best high quality setup during the day. So that's something I also want to look at going into the future. And then the last trade I took on NQ, I thought the draw on liquidity was now higher. Now this is where I started to just overanalyze at this point, right? So after taking first, 2 losing trades and, thinking and adjusting my bias, right? I'm very bullish. I think my bias is bullish going into the day. I'm bullish overall. I think the draw on liquidity is higher. But since we continue to sell off an NQ, I'm, afraid to admit, or afraid my bias is, not right, whatever it is. And I end up switching my bias short, thinking the draw on liquidity is that low. But if I zoom out to a bigger time frame, that low is not a prominent and important low that we really need to hit. If we go put in that high to the low, we know that we've already discounted ourselves. We're in that discount PD array. So at this point, there's no reason to be shorting this anymore after we've had that initial sell-off, right? I think a lot of it, my problem was as well, is letting, the chat affect me. Normally, I'm very good with that. I don't get affected much easily by the chat. But after taking those 2 losses and seeing everybody being, all that shit, maybe, want to take something, get a win in the books. But at the time, that's not something we need to be doing, right? So the reason on this trade is I did want to see an SMT formed once we swept these highs on ES. Now, I was looking at these ES highs on NQ, or on ES, we had equal highs. I noticed that the draw on liquidity, I was confident that the draw on liquidity is lower on ES, right? We're pretty close to taking out this low here. We're almost there. What I want to see happen now is I want to see ES come up, take these highs, and then form an SMT and then come lower, right? Because that high on ES or on NQ is right here. Now we end up right when I take this, again, too early, way prematurely for me to be entering right here. I should have waited if I even was going to take this trade right here. Again, zooming out, I'm too focused on that smaller time frame today. When I zoom out, we have that 15-minute fair value gap here. This is what I should be waiting to get. If I am going to take a short entry here, I want to see a rejection of that bigger time frame, right? Because on a 1 minute, there's really no PD array here for me to enter off of Confluence wise. We have a very small little 1 minute fair value gap, but I entered this expecting to form SMT without even waiting for any confirmation, right? So jumped in way too early on this trade, expecting to see some sort of SMT. Never got it. We ended up pushing up right to my stop loss and then ended up selling and sweeping that previous low, but we never even ended up hitting that low there. And then later in the day, we ended up getting, I do want to see if there was a setup because we did sweep this low. I would have, the only trade that I would have really taken here, would have been this right here. We have equal highs here. Once this gets swept, we continue to hold above it, pull back in, continue to hold the fair value gap. Once you see, we continue to hold long that first price target would have been that previous high. But again, the volume is just so bad, right? Notice how weak or just slow action this movement is, right? Like this is not the kind of action that we want to be trading, especially it's just not fun. And then we get this wild sell-off, get bought back up. Like the action today was just not favorable. When we do see this kind of action, again, it's best to just walk away. Now, I do want to see if we formed an SMT here. It kind of does look like it. When ES sold off here, we did sweep that low. I don't think we swept that low on NQ. Yeah, we didn't. So we did end up forming bullish SMT here. Now, I was confident in NQ taking out that buy side level. I remember watching the charts when we did see this sell off on NQ. I was pretty confident we were going to hold because, the draw on liquidity is that high level now. And then we also did end up forming that bullish SMT. ES ended up selling off, swept that low. NQ ended up holding, formed that bullish SMT, and then now we swept that high. So I do think the draw on liquidity is still higher, right? ES has not taken out that level yet. Now we are forming SMT on, the 15-minute from this high, but this SMT cuts through all this price action now, which I do not like. That's why the price action is so bad. When SMTs cut through price action, that's something that we most likely do not want to trade. Now, I still think the draw on liquidity is also higher for NQ because if we look at the 1 hour, this is the external draw, which is this high here, 133 or 13370, right? So since that has not been taken yet, I am still bullish. We could, come back down, possibly even sweep that low and then come back up. But I'm still confident. I am bullish going into tomorrow and the next days. Now, ES has been showing a little bit weaker action. Zooming out on the 1 hour, I still think the draw on liquidity is this overall high. We could see a pullback and retracement, right? I do want to draw in that high created to that low. Now, I do not think that we could. We definitely could. I don't think we're going to sell off this hard to go discount, but I honestly kind of would like to see that. We have this 4 hour order block here or breaker block. We could see a sell off to come down into that discount area and then bounce off that breaker level to then go to that buy side level. But since we're so close to this buy side level already, and we're consolidating at the highs, I do think that we would just see a breakout and then head higher to that buy side level. So I'm bullish until that buy side level hits. Once we sweep this high, I would like to see a sort of short setup, possibly, displacement back inside this range, and then, pull back, possibly heading back towards that previous weekly opening gap or whatever it is, excuse me. Do you have a limit for how many trades you take in a day? Like today, and if I take 3 losses, then I stop. But most of the time, wins wise, if it's just hits my price target and I don't see any, other trades, then I'll just stop there. I don't really have a set limit though. I only have a limit for my losses. Trust me, it wasn't us. Notice was those 2 to 3 people that use free Zoom. Yep, exactly. No, I understand it. I trust everybody fully. There's just always going to be some troll people. That's why I'm not going to use the Zoom chat anymore. We're going to close the Zoom chat and everybody can talk on the Discord. Couldn't get a sense of direction when I charted in the AM. Yep. Just, I need your input. I have lost many trades and my confidence is very low. I often end up reading the market right, but too scared to get in because of all the reasons it will go against me. How do I deal with placing trades more confidently? Yeah, good question. So the biggest recommendation I could give you about building confidence, right, is the reason that you're scared to enter is number one, you haven't accepted the risk, right? You're either putting too much money on the table, and that's the reason you don't want to enter is because you're afraid to lose that money. So my biggest recommendation is lower your size. And I'm not saying, like split in half. I'm saying like trade 10% of what you normally trade. Like just trade 1 to 2 micro contracts so you can actually build confidence and see how it goes, right? See how consistent you are trading very, very small size, because you'll notice you'll be less scared to enter trades because it's less risk, and you'll build more confidence with your strategy that way. So then once you trade that small size, you can build up that confidence. Once you then have that consistency, you've built up that confidence, you can then choose to up your size once you have that confidence built. But first, I would recommend lowering your size, building confidence, trading with small size. And then once you have that confidence, you have that consistency, you can slowly up it over time. Yeah, or paper trade as well. Limit orders, step away from the screen, trust your play. That too. Justin, what about tomorrow? We don't doing live trade? No, I won't be doing live trading tomorrow because I will be on a flight, but that's just for tomorrow. The rest of the week will be live trading, but tomorrow I will not be. Okay, so back to the charts. So yeah, on ES, again, still continuing to consolidate in this range. Going into tomorrow, let's check. I don't think we have any news that's that important. Yeah, we don't really have any news tomorrow that we need to worry about. Going into tomorrow, I do think the draw on liquidity is still higher. Now, could we see a continuation lower? Yes, but there's really no low for us to sweep here. So the only thing that I could recommend or I could think about is we do have this low on a smaller time frame on this 15 minute. So this could be something we could attract to. But again, we are technically, if we keep that low in, like we've hit discount. So on a smaller time frame, we've hit discount. We're continuing to chop, continuing to consolidate. I'm either expecting continuation, consolidation tomorrow, or either displacement and then back up to whatever that range is. I don't think that we get an expansion move. We definitely could, but I'd rather honestly see a sell-off in the overnight session to come down and take that low, potentially even go into that discount range and then get bought back up to buy side. But at the same time, we also are so close to taking that buy side level already. We're holding this 1 hour fair value gap. We're forming bullish SMT. I think that the drawn liquidity is higher, so we might honestly just hit that in the overnight session. That's something that we could see as well. NQ, again, the drawn liquidity is still higher. That external buy side level still has not been taken. We had that retracement to the downside, swept that low, got bought back up. We've taken that high out. Now, since we've taken that high out, we can see a little bit more of a retracement back down, possibly even coming down to take that previous low and then coming back up to sweep that high. But again, look how close we are to already taking that high. I do think that we just come back down and maybe hit it in the overnight session. So once we do sweep this high on NQ, I want to see how the markets will react. Again, after we sweep external buy side, I do want to be careful taking longs, right? I want to see if we get that displacement back into the range and we could see a sell-off after taking that high out. Does anybody have any questions? Yeah, 4X Factory is what I use for news. Will you still be charting in the afternoon? On Tuesday, probably not. But the rest of the days, yes, because I will be trading. So the days that I don't trade, I don't really like doing trading sessions because there's more to go over when we actually take trades, and I can actually see the price action from the day. Justin, when we have SMTs forming, but they are about to be invalidated, liquidity about to be swept, would we usually wait for the sweep or would we trade before the sweep? I would normally wait for the sweep. Like today specifically, I jumped the gun because when you continue to see sell, so this is something I've been noticing recently as well. When we see an SMT and we're afraid that it's going to get invalidated, one of the biggest signs of invalidation of a SMT is if it gets past that 50% level. So for example, if we look at this on ES here, right? and we were forming SMT around here, right? We were in that past breaker block. If I was to draw in the high to the low, we were just right around that 50% level. That's kind of what I want to see with SMTs. If we continue to get a strong sell-off and get, especially when we're back below weekly opening gap, I think I accidentally deleted that past one. So we're back below weekly opening gap and we're so close to taking that out, and Q's selling off hard. This is showing that we're most likely going to take out that sell side level. And it looks like it'll probably end up being the draw on liquidity. So most of the time, I would rather wait for that to get swept and then entering a trade. Do you trade any Forex pairs? Currently, no, but I might look into trading Forex in the future. Tell me, Justin, do you know ICT Silver Bullet strategy, and did it I'm gonna guess you said, is it legit strategy? Yeah, ICT Silver Bullet is very similar to the model that we trade, just a little bit different. ICT Silver Bullet is literally just liquidity sweat, breakup structure, fair value. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, but of course, I want to see other things as well. Like, is there an SMT? Is the draw on liquidity easy to read? Stuff like that. Displacement. Do you know if prop firms tax on withdrawals? No, they'll take a percentage. So it depends on what prop firm you're at. Apex takes, I think 10%. FFN takes 20%. But that money, if you make money from that, then that's all taxed based off of, your income. But they don't tax it for you. I don't think they do. Do you lower your size if your higher time frame bias isn't clear? I more lower my size if my lower time frame bias isn't clear, because I'm trading on lower time frames. So if my lower time frame bias isn't clear, then I'll lower my size. How much is it to withdraw from Edge Clear? You can from Funded Futures Network or the actual broker itself. If the broker itself, you can withdraw whatever you want. FFN, yeah, you can withdraw whatever you want. So you can repeat what we want the market to do tomorrow. Yeah. So tomorrow, I am bullish because we haven't swept these highs out on ES, and NQ hasn't swept this external buy side out. So depending on what happens in the overnight session is going to be, give me a clear bias, because I'd either want to see, I'd honestly expect either a chop tomorrow or in the overnight session, either, continue to chop in this range or potentially sweep these levels and then come back down. If we sweep this high in the overnight session, then I'll most likely expect to see a continuation lower. If we don't sweep these highs in the overnight session, then I think the draw on liquidity is higher, which once we take these levels out, I'm bullish though, or I'm bearish. Once we take that high out, I want to see how we react. We could go higher after we sweep that high, but I would want to see how we react at that level once we sweep that high. How long did it take you to fully set up Edge Clear? I went on a call with, again, Edge Clear is a really nice support team. You can literally get on a call with them on Zoom and they will literally help you set up and run you through the platform. So it took me probably like 30 minutes. Can you share a screenshot of those charts in Discord? Yeah. There's no fees. No, there's fees. The Edge Clear has honestly great fees. And if you use we're affiliated with Edge Pro as well. So if you use our link, then you get even better commissions. Any last questions, guys, going in tomorrow, or just any questions in general? Do you use the midnight opening price to help identify your daily bias? Most of the time, no. I do use the weekly opening gap though. Sometimes I'll use weekly or midnight open. But most of the time I just use weekly. Yeah, Edge Pro is really, really good. I love Edge Pro. It's very, very customizable. All right, guys. That's all I have for you guys tonight. I wish you all the best of luck going into tomorrow. I will not be trading tomorrow. Stay safe. I wish you guys, I hope you kill it. Again, guys, I honestly recommend if you guys want to trade together tomorrow, hop in the Discord VIP voice chat and hop in there with each other. You guys can screen share, talk to each other about the market and stuff like that. When I'm not there, I'd love to see you guys continue to trade without me and talk about your ideas. So that'd be sick. All right, guys, enjoy the rest of your night. Much love on the safe travel wishes. And I will see you all on Wednesday. So enjoy your Tuesday. Kill it. I wish you all the best of luck, and I'll see you guys back on Wednesday. Or let me answer. So if SMT cuts through price action, it doesn't work. That's what I've noticed. I don't like when SMTs cut through price action. No. All right. Enjoy the rest of your night, guys. Peace. If anybody has any questions, feel free to just at me in the Discord as well, and I'll help you guys out. All right. Later.